Good morning, everyone. We'll start with class 8, subject social science. We'll start with civics, chapter 2nd, that is secularism. This is the second video of this chapter. So, in our previous video, we discussed about the concept of secularism. Okay, so today we are going to discuss India is a secular state. So before you understand the concept of a secular state, an important point for you to understand is that the word state does not refer to the government. A government is only one of the organ of state. The state here means a definite geographical territory where people are sovereign and are not ruled by any foreign power. For example, the Indian state, the Japanese state, etc. A government made by one political party may be replaced by another, but so is not the case with state. Thus, one cannot use state and government interchangeably. When a country is called a secular state, it means that it follows the core principle of secularism, that is, separation between religion and state. In India, for example, we do not have any official religion of the state. The state neither promotes or discriminates against any religion but shows equal respect to all. This is the best reflected in the right to freedom of religion under the fundamental rights. So let us read more about these rights. Article 25 to 28 of the Constitution of India grants the right to freedom of religion. Look at this. Rights under right to freedom of religion. Freedom of conscience in free profession, practice and propagation of religion. Article 25. So in this article, people have the freedom to decide the manner in which they connect with their religious belief, and people have the freedom to declare their religious beliefs and faith openly and freely. And the people also have the freedom to perform rituals or ceremonies, worship and exhibit their religious beliefs. They have the freedom to spread or transmit the religious belief. In Article 26, freedom to manage religious affairs. This means that a religious sect or group has the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious purpose. And next article is 27, that is freedom from taxation for promotion of a religion. This means that no person shall be forced or pay any tax or money for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion. In a simple word, it means that the state should not use or spend public money for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion. Next article is Article 28, freedom for attending religious instructions. This means that no religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution which is wholly maintained by the funding from the state. There are other clauses which apply here. So one must understand that the Constitution of India recognizes not only the right of religious community but also a different order with a particular religion. If it gives an individual the right to choose how one would like to practice one religious belief, it also gives freedom to a person who does not believe or identify with a particular religion. However, you should not misunderstand that these rights are absolute. These rights are come with certain exceptions. For example, in order to spread one's religious belief, a person or a group is not allowed to forcibly convert other persons. Also, these rights are guaranteed as long as they do not disturb public order, morality, health, and other provisions of the fundamental right. If these rights put restriction on the state to not spend public money on promotion of any particular religions, they also do not allow a religious institution to spread hatred or false belief against any religion. In Indian, secularism is different in other regards as well. Although the principle of secularism state that there should be a separation between religion and state, one should have not interfere in each other's sphere. It does not mean that the state cannot intervene in religious matter if they violate other ideals or principle of the constitution. For example, the practice of untouchability was prevalent in the Indian society for centuries. Some people could propose that continuity in this practice was an integral part of the religion. However, a practice like this completely violated the principle of equality and justice. Thus, it was constitutionally abolished. An important point of discussion here is that the manner in which Indian secularism is practiced is different from the conventional meaning of the term. The state maintains a principal distance from religion. It not only intervenes but also supports people to practice their religious belief. In a large country such as India, which is diverse in terms of religion, there are several challenges for the state when it comes to following the principle of secularism. How should these challenges be dealt? What should be the role of government, religious communities, and the citizen of the country, and how to uphold the ideal of our constitution are some of the important questions that must be deliberated upon and discussed by us. Thank you.